So one of the nice things about living down here in Florida is we've got basically a front row seat to rocket launches. The Space Center is about 60 miles in that direction. And when they launch rockets, they come right up over the trees there. So that was a wild guess, and I was off by about 50%. As the crow flies, the launch pads at Kennedy Space Center are a shade over 90 miles away. So you're going to need a long lens to reach out and grab anything from here. The best views of launches are from Playa Linda Beach, just north of the KSC property line. What, big delay for 5? Oh, it's going, roll. And here it goes. Is that unbelievably bright? Or to be brutally honest, just tune into the SpaceX feeds on YouTube. Nothing beats a remote control camera next to the pad. But there is something special about seeing it in person from any distance.
Ignition, liftoff.
So I aim to get a really good shot this time because this one's going to happen right after sunset, and you get some spectacular plumes and dust trails and smoke trails and stuff. So this ought to be interesting.
On the bottom of the screen below the fairing, the clamp arms are beginning to open.
And thanks to modern telecommunications, I can watch it live on TV. And in this direction, we're having a nice, pretty sunset.
Pitching downrange.
Finally, the Falcon 9 leaves the launch pad, and I start shooting as it emerges from a cloud that kind of obscures things a bit between me and Kennedy Space Center. My biggest problem now is smoothly following it with the camera, which is on max telephoto. And even though I'm on a tripod, the slightest errant hand movement sends things a little out of kilter. A few moments later, the Falcon 9 is picking up a lot of speed and is headed almost due south and will fly over Cuba to put the OneWeb satellites into a very particular orbit. The distance between me and the rocket is increasing rapidly and might just be on the order of 300 miles. Still, when the first stage has finished its job, the first and second stages separate, and I've still got a bead on it. Now, if you know the routine, you know at this point the first stage relights and starts heading back to Florida. This is the big SpaceX innovation, flying the first stage back home and landing it, and saving 20 or 30 million bucks in hardware instead of dumping the whole thing in the ocean, as has been the tradition for the first 60 years of spaceflight, because nobody thought it could be done, except in the movies. Here's that staging sequence again as Falcon 9 flies home to land, blowing all kinds of colorful gases around, Buck Rogers style, on my camera. And I'm not too proud to admit it, this is the SpaceX version of the same moment. Shows you what $1 million worth of optics, radar trackers, and gyroscopic stabilization can do. A very impressive sight.
There you heard and you see in these incredible views from Falcon 9.
Well, you can see the contrail right there on what's left of the launch of the first stage. Everything else kind of flew out of sight. The sky's just a little milky tonight, which means if it had been a little darker, we might have seen it for a lot longer. Well, thanks for being with us. Good night, everybody.